In this video, we're going to be talking about the coordinate plane. So some vocabulary terms, the x-axis, this is the horizontal line. So this is the line that goes left and right. So on your coordinate plane, the line that goes left and right, that is your x-axis. And then your y-axis is the line that goes up and down. This is your vertical line. So the line that goes up and down, this is your y-axis. An ordered pair tells us where a point is on the coordinate plane. And so we label points by doing parentheses. We put our x, and then we put our y, and we put a comma in between them. So this is how we locate points. The origin is always at 0, 0. This is where the x and y axis meet. So it's always at 0, 0, right in the middle where the x and y meet. Quadrants, there are 4 quadrants. So quadrant 1 is this first one on the right. Then we have quadrant 2 to the left, quadrant 3 right below it, and then quadrant 4 to the right. There are 4 quadrants in our coordinate plane. Example 1, we're going to graph 3 points, Q, R, and S. So the first step when graphing points is you always want to start at the origin. So I'm going to go ahead and put a point at the origin, 0, 0, because that's where I want to start. That's my starting point. Step 2 is we always want to go left or right first. I always like to say that you want to run before you jump because you're going to get a little bit farther that way. You'll have more momentum. So run before you jump. So we're going to go left or right first. So the first thing with our first point Q, we're going to look at our first term x because x goes left to right. In this case, our x is positive 2. So if we're looking at left or right, do we think positive 2 is going to go to the left or the right? So positive 2 is going to go to the right. So I'm going to go over to my positive 2. And then my y, my up or down, is next. So step 3 is going up or down. In this case, our y is negative 3. That means we're going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. So my point for Q is at positive 2, negative 3. So I'm going to go ahead and label my Q. And this is in quadrant 4. My next point R, we're going to start at the origin, go left or right. Our x is negative 1. That means it's going to be to the left, 1. Then my y, step 3, up or down, is positive 1. So I'm going to go up 1. So my point R is at negative 1, positive 1, which is in quadrant 2. And my last point, S, I'm going to start at the origin. Left or right first. Our x, our left or right, is 0. We cannot go left 0 or right 0, so we're going to stay where we are. And now we're going to go up or down. Our y is 2. Positive 2 is up, so I'm going to go up to 2. And this is where my S point is. This is not in a quadrant because it is on the y-axis. So we're going to label this as on the y-axis because it's not in a quadrant. Using point P, negative 2, positive 3, explain how to graph this point. So step 1, we always want to start at the origin. So start at 0, 0. Then we are going to look at going left or right, depending on what our x is. So in this case, our x is negative 2. And negative 2, we need to go to the left. So we're going to go over to the left 2 spaces. And our third step is going up or down. In this case, our y is positive 3, which means that we are going up. So 1, 2, 3. This is where P is. Can erase your lines that helped you get to that point, and then we're going to label this as being in quadrant 2. Example 3, what are the coordinates for the Jefferson Memorial? So let's start with our Jefferson Memorial, where would this be? Now, looking at this coordinate plane, we have 0 and then 1 is actually all the way over here. This means that each tick mark is not going up by 1. So we are dealing with fractions here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to count to see what decimal makes up each tick mark. So remember, we never count where we're starting, so we're not going to count 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to my whole number. So I know that all these tick marks are going to be out of 4. So my denominator is going to be 4 on these. So now that I know that, now I can start figuring out where my Jefferson Memorial is. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight where that is for us. And now I'm going to start counting. So it looks like we need to go to the right. Normally we would just count 1, 2 and say it's at 2. But this case we are at 2 over 4, which we also know by now is the same as 1/2. You can also check yourself because if you're looking, it's directly halfway between 0 and 1. So the Jefferson Memorial, we first start by going positive 1/2, and then we're going to go down. So I can see that I have positive 1 right here, and I know that we're passing not positive 1. I know that we're passing -1, so I'm going to put -1 there because I know we're passing it. And now I'm going to count my tick mark for my Jefferson Memorial is right here. So I'm going to count how many tick marks are after the 1. So I have 1, 2, 3. So my Jefferson Memorial is on the 3rd tick mark out of 4. So to get to the Jefferson Memorial, you go positive 1/2 and then down -1 3/4. So our last question is asking us what landmark is located at positive 2 and positive 1/4. So first, we're going to start at the origin. We're going to go over to positive 2 and then over to, up to 1/4. So we are at the first tick mark out of our 4. So this is the FBI building. And that is located